But what's more important, the marketing or the product? Because in some instances, it looks as though the marketing becomes the more important factor.
Oh, I think there's a whole list of Bon Jovis who have a difficulty with that.
David Lee Roth is the loud, flashy frontman who helped turn Van Halen into a rock legend. With wild stage moves and even bigger talk, Roth always did things his own way. From calling Ozzy Osbourne a cartoon to saying there is no such thing as Bon Jovi, David Lee Roth never held back. Here are the 8 artists he disliked the most, and the last one might surprise you. Starting things off at number 8 is John Bon Jovi, an artist David Lee Roth said didn't even exist. In the late 80s, Bon Jovi were everywhere. Big hooks, big hair, and even bigger radio plays. But Roth looked at their rise and said something about it felt manufactured. In a blunt 1988 interview, he dropped a line that shocked people. There is no such thing as Bon Jovi. To him, the band name didn't feel like a real identity. He framed it as a brand, something you could package and sell. Roth's main issue was authenticity. He said that when Bon Jovi tried to be real, they played smaller shows and played as an opening act. Then once they started copying ideas from other artists, their popularity exploded. And Roth didn't stop there. He accused them of taking his music video ideas. He said they even hired his lighting and production crew as if they were copying everything. Roth prided himself on being an originator, not a follower, so he said that kind of copying bothered him. Then he went after John Bon Jovi's voice. Roth mocked the singing style and said it sounded like Bruce Springsteen. He also called the band an amalgamation, saying they sounded like a mix of other artists' influences. In short, Roth didn't hear a fresh band. He heard a blend of sounds that already existed, and he went further. He didn't just criticize the music, he mocked Bon Jovi's stage presence too. He mocked John's signature arm-out pose on stage. Roth called it the half-Jesus move. He joked that Bon Jovi built an entire career on leaning forward with one arm in the air. But the harshest part was his attack on the lyrics. Roth once said he wouldn't sing what he called sanguine, sissified, grew up way too close to mommy lyrics. Fans took that as a clear shot at Bon Jovi's emotional, working-class anthems. Roth also went after the business side. He argued that Bon Jovi's success owed more to their manager, Doc McGee, and songwriter Desmond Child than to the band itself. To Roth, that was proof the band was built by the industry. He argued the image was polished on purpose, and the songs were shaped to sell fast. If Roth thought Bon Jovi was a manufactured brand, wait until you hear what he said about rock's Prince of Darkness at number 7, Ozzy Osbourne. In the late 1980s rock scene, David Lee Roth liked flash, jokes, and big moves on stage. Ozzy Osbourne had a darker, more intimidating presence and a wild look. Both performed in large arenas, but they took very different approaches. Roth never tried to hide how he felt about Ozzy. Roth looked at Ozzy and said, "That's not a real person, it's a character." In one interview, he said, "Ozzy's a cartoon. I don't know if Ozzy even perceives that. Probably not. Ozzy is a product." In Roth's view, Ozzy wasn't a true artist breaking new ground. To him, Ozzy felt more like a product designed to sell a certain vibe. It's a harsh statement, and it shows Roth didn't respect Ozzy's overall persona. Then came the real shot, the music itself. Roth felt Ozzy's songs followed the same heavy metal pattern. Loud guitars, dark mood, same kind of punch over and over. Now, Roth didn't hate heavy metal itself. He thought Ozzy's version sounded too safe and too repetitive. Roth wanted music to feel fresh, with a strong personal stamp. Then Roth also criticized Ozzy's image. Ozzy's Prince of Darkness act was huge. Fans loved it, but Roth saw it as a mask that did most of the work. Spooky style and scary stories carried the show more than the songs did. And for Roth, that was a problem. He respected stage presence, but he also wanted the music to stand out. And he went further, taking shots at the people around Ozzy. He made it sound like Ozzy's band members were nothing special, like they were just there to support the brand. Roth cared a lot about personality in a band. He came from Van Halen, where each member felt like a big deal. So when he looked at Ozzy's team, he didn't see that same spark. And then there's the shock factor. Ozzy got famous for crazy moments, like the bat-biting story. Some people saw it as rock legend stuff. Roth seemed to see it as a cheap trick. He acted like Ozzy leaned on shock to stay talked about. Roth wanted to be remembered for swagger and skill, not stunts. Despite the early rivalry, Roth paid public tribute to Ozzy at his 2025 US tour kickoff, saying, "When I get to hell, we'll have a drink, brother." Either way, it was a rare moment of respect from Roth. And Ozzy wasn't the only star Roth brushed off. because at number 6, he turned his attention to the new generation's loudest breakout, Axl Rose. At the time, Guns N' Roses were exploding in popularity. Their raw sound and dangerous image were taking over rock music. In a 1988 interview, David Lee Roth spoke candidly about the new crop of artists. When Axl Rose's name came up, Roth didn't sugarcoat his thoughts. He called the Guns N' Roses singer a beginner and said he imitates Robert Plant pretty good. Those words spread fast and grabbed attention immediately. Roth admitted that Axl had talent. He said he liked some of his lyrics and could see real emotion in them. Still, he felt Axl had not fully found his own voice. Roth pointed to Sweet Child of Mine and criticized the simple rhymes. He joked that it sounded like Moon in June rhymes with spoon. To Roth, that kind of writing felt unfinished. Roth noticed the hype, but he believed Axl leaned too heavily on classic rock legends. He felt Axl's voice, screams, and stage moves borrowed too much from singers like Robert Plant. In Roth's mind, copying was a problem, even if it worked. Roth may not have meant to start a feud, but it landed like a diss. Roth described seeing a real human being inside Axl's lyrics, yet said the style wasn't mature enough. That mix of praise and insult became a signature Roth move. He recognized potential, then challenged it. Roth's comments reflected his own values. He believed rock stars should invent, not repeat. As a frontman known for swagger and originality, he expected newcomers to raise the bar. Fans still debate whether Roth was right. Some agree Axl borrowed heavily from classic rock. Others argue Guns N' Roses brought fresh danger back to rock music. Either way, Roth's comment about Axl being a beginner shows how veterans judge rising stars. But Roth didn't only take shots at rising singers. At number 5, he clashed with someone just as famous for ego and business as he is, Gene Simmons. David Lee Roth and Gene Simmons are both famous for big personalities. For years, they respected each other from a distance. That changed during Kiss's End of the Road era, when Roth was part of the touring conversation and the comments went public. What started as praise quickly turned into a sharp insult. In an interview, Gene Simmons called Roth the ultimate frontman in his prime, but then he took a brutal turn. Simmons compared modern-day Roth to bloated Elvis on the bathroom floor. That line spread fast and hit hard. It wasn't just criticism, it was personal. Roth did not respond with a long statement or interview. Instead, he went online and made his point visually. He posted a photo of a kid wearing sunglasses and flipping the middle finger. Then he posted it again and again. In total, Roth shared the image 18 times in a row. No caption, no explanation, just pure attitude. Fans instantly understood the message. Roth didn't want to argue. He wanted to dismiss Simmons completely. The move fit Roth's style perfectly. Loud, simple, impossible to ignore. The feud showed a deeper clash between the two men. Simmons has always treated rock music like a business. He talks openly about money, branding, and profit. Roth comes from a showman mindset. He believes rock should feel dangerous, wild, and alive. To Roth, being called bloated Elvis wasn't just rude. It threatened his image as a timeless performer. After the backlash, Gene Simmons walked it back. He apologized and said his words were a mistake. He blamed it on diarrhea of the mouth. Simmons said he didn't mean to hurt Roth. The apology cooled things down, but the damage was already done. Roth never publicly accepted the apology. He didn't need to. His message had already landed. To many fans, Roth came out looking defiant and unbothered. Simmons looked like he crossed a line. And if that feud felt personal, the next one was bigger than one person, because at number 4, Roth blamed an entire shift in rock on Kurt Cobain. David Lee Roth didn't have a personal feud with Kurt Cobain, but he was against the grunge movement that Kurt was leading. In interviews during the 1990s and later, Roth often blamed grunge for his solo struggles. He blamed the grunge scene for turning fans off of his live show, saying 2 words, Kurt Cobain. I went from playing to 12,000 people to 1,200, from arenas to casinos and state fairs and the local House of Blues. Roth didn't attack Cobain on a personal level. Instead, he used Cobain as a symbol of changing music tastes. He felt grunge pushed aside bands that thrived on big guitars, solos, and party vibes. Roth believed people no longer wanted that high-energy style once grunge became popular. In one interview, Roth even admitted he understood how trends work. He said that if he had stayed in Van Halen, his career might have stayed steady but slower. He joked that he could have ended up playing golf and tennis instead of rocking stages. Those comments showed self-awareness, even if frustration still came through. There was never a real feud between Roth and Cobain. The two never crossed paths, and Cobain passed away in 1994. Still, Roth kept bringing up Cobain when talking about his shrinking venues. His arena shows slowly turned into casino and fair gigs. To Roth, Cobain represented the moment rock music changed direction. Fans remain split on Roth's take. Some say artists must evolve with the times or get left behind. Others agree the early 1990s were brutal for glam metal stars. Either way, Roth's words show how hard it is when a new genre takes over. At number 3, we have Wolfgang Van Halen. This is where things got personal for David Lee Roth. Wolfgang is the son of guitar legend Eddie Van Halen. He joined Van Halen as a young bassist and later started his own band, Mammoth. Instead of offering support, Roth went after him online. In a series of videos, Roth mocked Wolfgang's music and success. He said one of his albums was dead on arrival and said it failed right out of the gate. Roth didn't stop there. He took shots at Wolfgang's talent and said he only had a career because of his last name. Roth even mocked him in fake interviews, acting like Wolfgang was spoiled and ungrateful. The tone felt harsh, especially coming from someone tied to the Van Halen legacy. Many fans felt Roth crossed a line. To them, it looked like an older rock star attacking a younger musician trying to build his own path. Wolfgang handled it differently. He responded with calm and humor. At one point, he even said he was honored Roth noticed him at all. Alex Van Halen later brushed it off, calling Roth's comments a strange form of respect. That didn't stop the headlines. The story spread fast and reopened old wounds from the band's past. It showed that tensions from the Van Halen days never fully disappeared. Wolfgang kept moving forward. His band gained respect, and his music stood on its own. Roth, meanwhile, stayed loud and unapologetic. This clash wasn't really about charts or albums. It was about legacy, ego, and unresolved history. In the end, this moment says more about Roth than Wolfgang. Carrying a famous last name comes with pressure, and Wolfgang faced it head-on. Roth's words reminded everyone that old rivalries can resurface, even years later. And once you bring up the Van Halen name, there's no avoiding the rivalry fans still argue about at number 2, Sammy Hagar. After David Lee Roth left Van Halen in 1985, Sammy Hagar stepped in as the new singer. With Hagar, the band got even bigger. They sold millions of records and filled stadiums. Still, Roth never accepted that era as equal to his own, and years later, he made that crystal clear. In a backstage interview, Roth was asked if he'd ever sing songs from the Sammy Hagar era. His answer was blunt. He said it would be a credibility issue for him and the band. He said fans came to hear his Van Halen, not someone else's version. He even bragged that his era sold twice as much, then joked, "This hamburger don't need no helper." That line became one of his most quoted insults toward Hagar. That wasn't the end of it. Over the years, he kept taking shots at Hagar on video and online. In one infamous rant, Roth brought up Hagar's story about being abducted by aliens. Roth sarcastically said people who get abducted are probed, and joked that this might explain Hagar's behavior. He called Hagar's comments a constant spew of diarrhea vitriol. The words were harsh, crude, and very public. Hagar fired back in his own way. Hagar said Roth could only pull off a couple songs from that era, maybe just finish what you started. Hagar also said Roth's voice and range didn't fit the songs he and Eddie wrote. He suggested Roth's ego made teamwork impossible. These comments kept the rivalry alive and gave fans plenty to argue about. Things got even stranger after Eddie Van Halen passed away. When Hagar said Eddie visited him in a dream to share music ideas, Roth mocked that too. Roth joked that Eddie's ghost told him the song he gave Hagar was just In a Gata da Vida, played backwards. To many fans, this felt disrespectful. This feud was never just about music. It was about identity. Roth saw himself as the original voice and spirit of Van Halen. Hagar saw himself as the man who kept the band alive and successful. Neither was willing to give ground. Even decades later, the debate continues. Fans still argue about which era was better. Roth versus Hagar became more than a band dispute. It turned into one of rock music's most famous rivalries, and neither side ever truly walked away. At number 1, we have the Van Halen brothers, Eddie and Alex Van Halen. This was the most intense and important feud of David Lee Roth's career. David Lee Roth helped form Van Halen with Eddie and Alex in the early 1970s. Together, they changed rock music. On stage, they looked unstoppable. Off stage, the relationship was always tense. Years later, Roth admitted the truth without holding back. He said, "We have always hated each other." That statement shocked fans, but Roth stood by it. Roth explained that the band was built on rivalry from day one. He said they came from different worlds and were thrown together by chance. The Van Halen brothers were serious musicians who focused on precision and control. Roth was a wild showman who cared about flash, humor, and chaos. Those differences created magic, but they also caused constant fights. According to Roth, the band members were never friends outside the stage. He said they didn't hang out, didn't party together, and didn't even eat meals as a group. He described their bond like ripped jeans. You love them because of the damage, not despite it. The tension became part of the sound. Creative control was the biggest issue. Eddie wanted to focus on music and structure. Roth wanted bigger performances, crazier lyrics, and more attention to image. Roth said arguments broke out over songs, clothes, and even haircuts. Nothing was too small to fight over. Roth also made cutting remarks about Eddie's work outside the band. When asked about Eddie's famous guitar solo on Michael Jackson's Beat It, Roth dismissed it by saying Eddie played the same solo he had been playing for years. To Roth, that moment wasn't special. Fans didn't agree, but Roth didn't care. By the time the band recorded 1984, the tension became impossible to ignore. Roth wanted to make movies and expand his career. The brothers wanted to keep the band focused on music. Roth eventually walked away, telling them he couldn't work with them anymore. His exit split the band and the fan base. Even after reunions, the damage never fully healed. Roth later said they despised each other from the very beginning. Still, he admitted that Eddie was a once-in-a-generation talent. He praised his guitar skills while never softening the personal conflict. This feud shows how greatness can grow from conflict. Roth and the Van Halen brothers didn't succeed because they got along. They succeeded because they clashed. Their hatred fueled competition, and that competition created history. That's our list from start to finish. Now it's your turn to tell who did Roth judge the hardest, and who do you think he actually respected deep down? Drop your answer in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.